Good morning. This is Dr. Stebbin. I hope everybody's doing well. This is a follow-up from the emails that I sent you last evening concerning the video not recording. I should have listened to Elizabeth. Um, I'll have to do better about that. But anyway, thought about it, and I just felt like that I needed, with everything that we talked about, I needed to give you something that you would be able to refer back to if you needed to. That would that would just give you a review of what we had talked about, or if you needed a reminder, that it would be there as well. So what I've decided is I'm going to use the agenda for week 2, which you can find in your Blackboard shell under session 2. And I'm just going to follow that, and I'm just going to give a brief overview of what we talked about there, some reminders, and then if you have any questions beyond that, you can see me on a personal basis. Dr. Bullis is also going to provide something later on today, and we'll be getting that to you as well. I'm going to post these actually under both of them under session 2 for your reference. But anyway, the first thing that we talked about during class yesterday was your first assignment. Just a reminder that to all of you that attendance policy for Gardner-Webb University is based on whether work is submitted and completed and submitted on schedule. And so when work is not completed and submitted by 6:00 p.m. on Sunday evening, it actually is considered, you're considered absent. So that is why, in the system, it gives me no alternatives for that. So either the work's there or it isn't there. So, just please be aware of the policy and the attendance policy, and just get your work in on schedule. That's the best thing to do. Um, as it relates to assignment number 1, that was from your textbook reading. You were to take one of the quotes and one of the 3 quotes, and you were to decide which one you wanted to respond to. And as I indicated during class, the responses were pretty much up and down the spectrum. I had some that I felt like you had put a lot of thought into it. Um, it actually, you were actually able to show some progress, show me some progress from where you were when you first started the program to where you are now. But I'll be honest with you, there were some that I didn't feel like um, there was enough thought put into it. And it was just, it was completed. Something was written down and submitted just because you had something to do. Um, just remember, this course is a self-reflection, and you should take the time to to see where you are now and to see where you were, and to be able to recognize that growth, and to also look at areas that you continue to see as areas that you should seek improvements in. That's what it's all about this semester. So I'm asking you to, no matter what the assignment is, I'm asking you to give me your very, very best from this point on. I want to talk about, I'm going to share my screen, and let me see again. I'm still learning. There it is. Still learning this new computer of mine. I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to look at your assignment for this current week, week 2, that will be due no later than Sunday by 6:00. On the schedule of activities and Zoom sessions, assignments for grade. Here we are. I still have 4 people that have not completed the contact information. It's for 1 point, but It's in there, and those 4 people need to, or 3 people, I think it is, you need to complete that. But let's look at the case study requirements. Again, as I said last evening, these case studies are so important for you individually in many ways. We did 2 in 601 where you worked with your Zoom teams. In 603, you did a lot of work with case studies as it relates to the course, the course dealing with finance and law, and in 605, we're going to do them a little bit differently, but they really should be a combination of everything that you've learned in 601 and 603, specifically 603, with you being able to recognize how you need to handle things as an administrator from a law perspective and from policy and procedure perspectives based on your school districts. So this is what is required of each individual. You're to read the case study individually, not a Zoom group. You're to write a 1-paragraph response and make sure that it's thorough for each of the questions. Responses must include lessons learned in MSA 603 relative to policy and law. And then you're going to be prepared to share openly in class next week concerning this. Now, at the end of the case study, these are the questions. What do you do with this information? Will Mr. Moss continue to substitute? How will you handle this? Will you tell anyone, deal with the situation, or will you leave it alone? No matter what your response is, you need to back it up with something. It's not a yes or a no, or if it is, then why? And again, make sure that you base it up not on opinion, but based on the facts and based on what the law says and what policy and procedure practices include. You get 100 points for this activity. The first 50 points are going to be solely based on how you respond to these narratively. I will look at them, realizing you won't get a grade on this until after next Wednesday, because I've got to look at what you've written, and then I'm going to look at how you participate in our class discussion about this next week. And remember, I'm expecting all 13 of you to be able to have some valuable input. We don't have a lot of time to spend on this, but whatever you say, make it count for something. And count well, because remember, I'm looking at 50 points. And however you respond during our class discussion on this. So the most you can get is 100 points. And again, 50 points are going to come from, or up to 50 points will come from your narrative work, and up to 50 points will come from the oral discussion that we have next week. This will be the same practice that we have for case studies 2 and 3. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. And I wanted to go ahead and talk to you about, this is looking ahead, but your assignment for week 3 is the Johari window. And this is going to begin from your reading from the Glickman textbook, chapter 6. And you're to explain the concept of the Johari window and why it would be important for a school leader to know thyself. Notice that know thyself's in quotation marks. That means that you should be able to see this in the reading. And remember, this is a self-reflection. Why is it important for a school leader to know thyself? And you're going to base this on what the research says. It's not your opinion per se. Please observe confidentiality, there's two things. You're going to respond to why it would be important for a school leader to know themselves. And then you're going to observing confidentiality, you're going to cite an example of cognitive dissonance. Now, first of all, you've got to know what is cognitive dissonance. That's a part of your learning curve and part of your research. And you're going to cite an example of cognitive dissonance in a leader from your experience. Stumped. You might review the list of supervisory behaviors on pages 90, 91 in the same text reading. First of all, what is cognitive dissonance? And once you understand that, this individual is going to probably immediately come to your mind. Remaining anonymous in your narrative work, you talk about that person and you tell something about how it relates to what cognitive dissonance is. Also under week 3, and this is under week 3, you will find these 3 pieces of material resources that's going to help you with this assignment as well. As it relates to the Johari window, there's an article that I need for you to read, and it's what is the Johari window. And then following that, there's a short video, YouTube video, that explains the Johari window. Once you have read it, once you have watched the video, then there is a link for an online self-assessment. I want you to take that self-assessment. And then along with the assignment for writing about the knowing yourself, thyself, and then the example of cognitive dissonance, you're going to include the results of this survey, of this self-assessment with the assignment as well. And again, this is week 3. We'll talk about this a little bit more next week, just as a reminder. So that gets us through week 3 with our assignments. Again, please make sure that you balance your time so that you're getting this work done and not at the last minute on Sunday afternoons when it's due. A reminder to those that have not completed the CAP, and it's just a few of you, you must have, at a minimum, CAP 1 must be submitted to Dr. Bullis before Saturday or by Saturday of this week in order for him to give you feedback and to let you know whether there's some things that you need to change in it, and get back to him in a quick turnaround, because this has to be submitted to me for a final grade by Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. Task 1 must be completed at a minimum. But Dr. Bullis must see it, and he must approve it before it comes to me. Use the materials and resources that we've provided for you, specifically the helpful hints for the CAP when completing task 1 of this evidence. If you have questions, if you're working on the PSYOP, you can begin submitting those to Dr. Bullis as well. As soon as remember, they must go through him first, and then they come to me. But you can go ahead and get started on that. If you have any questions about the PSYOP, please reach out to Dr. Bullis or me concerning that. That's enough on the evidence work. Remember, you've got a schedule of when all task stream work is due Please make sure that you keep up with that and you pace yourself accordingly so that you do not get behind on any of that and you're not able to get your assignments in on schedule. Again, Dr. Bullis met with us last evening, and he's going to post his own short video about the things that he talked about later on today. Just a reminder of our and let me go to that, our major assignment, and those presentations start next week. This is dealing with the PSEL standards and digital competencies. Let me just click on that and open that up. And I have made adjustments in the schedule for those that I needed to had requested to make some changes with. So that should be pretty much over with now. But let's look at that. These are the standards again. These are the 10 standards, and these are the competencies. And over the course of this semester, we have all of these assigned, and this is going to be your major presentation that you're going to be making this semester. But let's look at the introduction. It says, welcome. I, your superintendent, will conduct your end of the year evaluation. And just pretend I'm your superintendent. I've asked you to prepare a presentation, 20 minutes, on your PSEL standard or digital competencies. You are making this presentation based on your assigned school. Your task is to explain and show where your school and you are relative to this standard or competencies. You're to talk about the strengths and areas for improvement. You will prepare a presentation for the entire class. You will also be peer reviewed and rated by a team of your peers. These presentations will be done via Zoom next week on the assigned night. Please use the template below as your guide. So our first two presenters are going to be Elizabeth and Caitlin. Let's say Elizabeth has standard 1, mission, vision, and core values. So as Elizabeth is preparing her presentation, she's going to think about her school as it relates to this standard. But these are the guides right here. These are the slide guides, remembering that, these are required, but you can have more than these, based on what you need. Slide 1, you identify the standard or the competency and elements. And then slide 2, in your own words, what does this standard measure and why is it important? Slide 3, what does this look like for the school overall, your school, and give examples? Slide 4, list your 3 major strengths in this area. This is the school strengths of the school. Slide 5, list your 3 major opportunities for improvement in this area and how you will address them. And then slide 6, overall rating of your school on the standard and a list of artifacts that would show to back up your claim, and then any other that you would like to include. Now, in addition to that, remember I suggested, I said you have about 20 minutes. I would make sure that my presentation was capsuled in 15 minutes and then spend the last 5 minutes leading the class in a final discussion of your evidence. And again, you're going to lead this discussion, to bring closure to that, allowing for comments, questions, or whatever else needs to be done. I'm expecting nothing but exemplary work from these presentations. Now, the peer reviews, and you've got the template for completing this also in your assignments to grade. For PSEL Standard 1, for Elizabeth's presentation, Amber's going to be peer reviewing, and Douglas is going to be peer reviewing. So those are the 2 that's going to provide feedback based on Elizabeth's presentation. You will complete this on the form provided, and then you will submit that to me before the week's over with as one of your assignments due. Nobody else for Elizabeth will have to submit anything. Caitlin's standard 2, Mary is going to do peer review 1, Malika is going to do peer review 2. So these are the only 4 that will be submitting peer reviews on the standards next week, and they will have one of their 2 peer reviews completed. And then we'll talk about the next step next week with those that will be presenting. If you have any questions about this, again, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm expecting exemplary work from this, and I know you're going to give it to me. It pretty much, I think that covers, for the most part, everything that we talked about, to the point that you do have an understanding. You should have an understanding of what's expected. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. You have a great week ahead, great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you.